Taylor Swift started out as a teenage country singer and rose to become one of the richest and most powerful women in music, a billionaire mogul with a global empire. While millions adore her, many others can't stand her. She's been accused of being manipulative and controlling, and has even faced bizarre rumors linking her to witchcraft. From public feuds and environmental backlash over her private jet use to brutal legal battles over her own music rights. She's taken hit after hit, but through it all, she keeps rising, rewriting the rules, and commanding the world's attention. Stick around as we dive into the remarkable life of Taylor Swift. She was born in Reading, Pennsylvania, and raised on a Christmas tree farm. It sounds like something out of a Hallmark movie, but her story would become anything but simple. Her father was a stockbroker, her mother a marketing executive. They were comfortable, but not wealthy, and when they realized that their daughter's songwriting and musical instincts were beyond rare, they made a decision that would change everything. The family uprooted their lives and moved to Nashville, the heart of country music. They weren't promised success, just the chance to try. By the time she was 14, she was signed to a label. At 17, she had her first hit single. Her songs were honest, raw, and confessional. They were like entries in a teenage diary that millions could relate to. But people questioned how a teenager could write about love, heartbreak, and betrayal. Truth is, she had always been a watcher, absorbing emotion from around her and channeling it through lyrics. That's the magic. That's what made people feel like she was singing their story. But the higher she rose, the more critics came for her. Some called her fake, manipulative, said she was constantly playing the victim. Others accused her of using romantic relationships for publicity and song material. She became tabloid fodder. Her dating life was dissected on late night shows. Her intentions were questioned. Some said she couldn't keep friends. Some went as far as to accuse her of witchcraft based on symbolism in her videos and performances. A bizarre accusation, but one that still gained traction in internet rabbit holes. So is Taylor Swift a witch? It started as a joke, a half-serious question whispered in online corners. But the whispers got louder. The cloaks, the candles, the choreography that looked like a ritual. Her Willow performance, in particular, felt like something out of a fantasy novel. Fans began claiming they saw her summoning spirits on stage. Then came the eerie moments. A plane flew overhead. At the exact second she sang, the plane was going down. Storms rolled in mid-performance, perfectly timed with the mood of her lyrics. The lights pulsed in sync with the energy in the crowd, like the room itself was alive. It didn't just feel magical, it felt too magical. That's when the theories began. Whispers of witchcraft, occult symbols in her videos, satanic undertones in her stage design. But Taylor just laughed it off. "I'll never beat the sorcery allegations," she joked. And maybe she won't, because what some call witchcraft is really just power. The power to move millions, power to hold an entire stadium in silence, power to create moments so emotionally charged they feel supernatural. No spells, no dark forces, just a woman who knows exactly what she's doing, mastering her craft, owning her voice, and casting spells the only way she knows how, through music. Then came the legal and business betrayals. Perhaps the most devastating was when the master recordings of her early music, her first 6 studio albums, were sold, not to her, but to a man she considered an enemy. She wasn't even given the chance to buy them herself. These were the songs that built her career, and suddenly she had no control over them. It wasn't just business, it was deeply personal. But Taylor didn't back down. She re-recorded those 6 albums, note for note, voice for voice, and released them as Taylor's version, turning a painful loss into a massive win. Today, she's publicly confirmed that she's bought back the original masters from Shamrock Capital, giving her full ownership of her early catalog. Every note, old and new, now belongs to her, And with that win, she took back her music and the power to tell her own story. And let's not forget the public feuds. Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, storming the MTV stage. Then came the famous lyric in 2016, "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that famous." The line shocked fans, and while Ye claimed Taylor had approved it, she denied ever agreeing to being called that word. That's when Kim Kardashian, Ye's wife at the time, posted a secretly recorded phone call between Taylor and Ye, claiming it proved Taylor had given her blessing. The internet turned on her fast. "Taylor Swift is over" party trended. She was called fake, manipulative, and labeled a snake. But years later, the full phone call leaked, proving Taylor had been telling the truth all along. She had approved some of the lyric, but was never told she'd be called a bitch. What looked like betrayal to millions suddenly flipped, and the world saw how twisted the situation really was. Taylor didn't just survive it, she turned it into fuel. But perhaps the darkest moments came not from critics or rivals, but from strangers. She's had stalkers. In 2018, a man named Roger Alvarado broke into her New York home, not once, but multiple times. In one of those terrifying incidents, he broke a window, entered her home, took a shower, and then climbed into her bed to sleep. She wasn't home, but the psychological toll was massive. And he wasn't the only one. Over the years, other stalkers have shown up armed, obsessed, and delusional. It forced her to boost her security to extreme levels. Surveillance, private bodyguards, armored vehicles. What looks like luxury from the outside was often a reaction to living in fear. She's spoken about the trauma, the constant anxiety of being watched or followed.
From a normal place and live a normal life, but there is sort of an abnormal magnifying glass, like telescope lens on everything.
It's not just a celebrity inconvenience, it's a real and terrifying intrusion into a life already under constant public scrutiny. But through all of it, she kept going. She kept writing, performing, and creating. One of her most powerful moments came when she released the song All Too Well, a song written from a heartbreak so deep it stayed with her for years. The longer version blew up online and became a huge cultural moment. But it wasn't just about a breakup. It was her way of taking back her voice, her memories, and the pain she went through. She's also been open about her struggles with body image and mental health. Fame distorted how she saw herself. She admitted to battling disordered eating, obsessing over criticism of her body, and crumbling under the pressure to be perfect. Behind the makeup and stadium lights, she was a woman fighting anxiety, insecurity, and exhaustion. And yes, there were moments she wanted to quit. She disappeared for long stretches, questioned whether she could keep going. But something in her always pulled her back to the music. And then came the Eras Tour, the crown jewel in her comeback. Not just a tour, but an economic and cultural force. The tour grossed over $1.1 billion, making it the highest grossing music tour of all time. Cities sold out hotel rooms months in advance. The Federal Reserve even credited the tour for boosting local economies. But what makes it so magnetic? Her fans don't just attend shows, they experience them. These concerts are emotional, cinematic, unforgettable. Each night, she performs more than 40 songs live. No lip syncing. Every lyric, every costume change, every visual curated with devotion. People spend hundreds, sometimes thousands, just for the chance to be in the same space as her. Why? Because she makes them feel seen. Yet even with this unmatched success, the criticisms don't stop. She's been called a carbon polluter for her private jet use. She's been slammed for getting too political after endorsing progressive candidates and speaking out on abortion rights. Her critics accuse her of being overly strategic, too polished, too in control. And behind the fame, the power, and the global success, she's still navigating relationships, trust, and isolation of fame. People ask, Why do some love her and others hate her so passionately? Because she's not neutral. She's vulnerable, emotional, outspoken, strategic, flawed, all at once. That kind of visibility invites adoration and venom. So what power and inspiration can we pull from Taylor Swift's life? Here are 3 key lessons. Number 1, own your narrative. Don't let others write your story. If they steal it, take it back louder. Number 2, resilience matters more than talent. It's not enough to have gifts. You have to survive the storm to share them. And lastly, number 3, connection is everything. In a disconnected world, showing up as your raw, messy, honest self is the most radical thing you can do. This isn't just the story of a pop star. This is the story of a woman who's been broken, doubted, betrayed, and still stood taller every time. She turned heartbreak into anthems, betrayal into billion-dollar businesses, and fear into fire. That's not just power, that's legacy. That's Taylor Swift.